but probably the last 5 weeks has been an unbelievable statistics.
The Hawks are going to start with an extra in defence.
Good to see Simon Black out there. He started on the bench the last couple of weeks, and they have been belted in the first 15 to 20 minutes. So one of the best in and under players the game's ever seen.
And it looks like Maguire has gone to Franklin.
Oh.
So he got his wish.
Umpires today, Hayden Kennedy, Stephen Grun, Troy Pennell, and we are underway. A little bit of a wobbly bounce, but we are at least underway. Savage out wide. Smith half forward. Tuopolo just missed it. McGrath dives in. Simon Black, you'll be pleased with that, Tony. Starting on the ground this week, started on the bench last week, which seemed a strange move.
Well, here he is. He had the ball, but he'll get it back again.
There you go. And he's been in pretty good form as well.
Good pressure here. Oh, you've got to make that tackle.
Breaks through. Adcock with some time to use it.
Oh.
And he makes Rockcliffe go back and get it. He's been outstanding this year. Tom Rockcliffe, 31 possession game last week, but he wasn't quick enough to get that before it ran over the line. And we'll get a ball in.
And an opportunity to put some good early pressure on the lines, but a missed tackle by Osborne. You've got to make those tackles stick in the forward 50.
Leuenberger did win the palm down. Not coming out in a hurry. Pye gives them an enormous amount of time, then decides he'll ball it up. Bailey, a little push and shove. And Franklin, third man up, but he missed it completely. And how will the umpires see that? I think he's decided that Lance Franklin was pushed. Did he think that Lance Franklin was the actual ruckman?
Not sure.
Or a block out, maybe?
Well, he doesn't look confident of going the journey.
You're allowed to shepherd out a non-ruckman, aren't you?
It's an interesting kick.
Yeah, it's a terrible kick, really. Mitchell and Maguire decided not to take possession. Shields doesn't make him pay the price. Leuenberger, who got back to help, dragged down by Hale. Good tackle, dispossessed Smith. Back toward full forward, and Rockcliffe takes the saving mark. Strange start to this contest.
Yeah, and I think the breeze is already having an impact on the players' confidence when it comes to kicking. Very blustery conditions.
Sheldon, back pocket. Called to go by the umpire.
Trouble again.
Not a big crowd in here at Aurora Stadium either. Certainly some spare seats as Sheldon runs down the boundary line. Karnesis takes a good grab.
He did well, Sheldon. He had to beat 2 of them, and he ran his full journey, but then hit a target. Terrific.
Power. Still on the outer side. In some ways, the wind blowing straight at his face. Simon Black. 2 big gun forwards in action today. Jonathan Brown, Lance Franklin. Clean conditions for marking, but as the boys have told you, the wind is a little tricky, and it was tricky for Hodge there. Couldn't hold it, and we'll get a ball in.
I think we'll see a lot of this tempo football because the wind's that choppy that they just do not want to turn it over and kick to a one-on-one. See a lot of lead up hitting the passes, I would think, today.
Leuenberger front spot. Again, there was a 2-up situation. Rains to Power, straight up in the air. Jonathan Brown gets his first go at it. Went the chest mark. Gibson got a fist in there. Ellis back into the team this week to Hodge, to Burgoyne. The run from defence. I want to come to the open side. Smith, Franklin. Hale wants it long. He spears that to half forward instead. Low ball. Brust pokes it. Ellis had to go at it. Smith tried to thread a handball through. Redden knocks it down. Still a back through traffic. Maguire, Rockcliffe, McGrath, Adcock. And they work it out nicely. Time for a couple of bounces. And the kick not good. Murphy getting back. Banfield with him. All bounced unkindly initially. Murphy with a handball over the head. Reasonably tough for Suckling to Burchell. Run down by Banfield. And now Jonathan Brown can go at it. He's got a couple to beat. And strangely enough, went the easy but the worst option off the deck. Gibson. Guerra.
No one to kick to out wider. Comes back in the corner. Great kick.
Bailey. Why did Jonathan Brown try that?
He probably thought he was going to be under pressure if he had to bend down.
It never worried him in the past. Ellis to Burchell. And once again he heads a little wide. Brust, Patfull with him. Patfull had the boundary there if he wanted it. Tried to milk a free. Didn't get it. Puopolo tried to milk a free. Also didn't get it. We'll get a ball in. And the ball in. Well, you make your mind up at home whether Jonathan Brown should have picked that up. Mitchell puts it up just in time. Hodge inside 50, heads toward goal. Breeze didn't bother him. All class.
Yeah, I think in conditions like these, the really good kicks are going to stand out.
Yeah.
And Luke Hodge, you'll notice, he's fresh. He's not the quickest player in the game, but he's got a burst of speed and he uses it just to give himself a little bit of space and time to straighten up. That's the important thing. He doesn't kick across the body. He straightens up, aligns himself with the target, and then just kicks through it nicely. Slow start by both teams, but finally a score on the board.
Been in hot form, coming off a 40-possession game last week. Outstanding in a losing team against Collingwood, Luke Hodge. Still plenty of spare seats. Hopefully a few will come late. And they're not making a lot of noise just yet. Hodge again with the clearance, and that's a 70-metre bomb. Hale in the spot. Franklin stayed down back of the pack. McGrath gathered it, stopped Franklin from getting it. Heads to the boundary and might roll all the way. Cheney cut it down, but not in time. We'll get a ball in.
Just already seen, I think, the Hawthorns, Mitchell, Hodge, bit of strength around the contest. Clearance work so important in these conditions.
You mentioned Mitchell, consistent season thus far. Sure, it's an interesting matchup. Andrew Rains on it, isn't it?
Different type. Rains, he sort of runs with players who cover the ground a bit better than Sammy Mitchell, but in and under, I don't know.
Gibson spectacular. Shields not so. Wrapped up in the tackle and free kick to Hawksley, who's back into the Brisbane Lions team this week. We saw Simon Black back on the bench for the Lions after a 4-minute run. Redden.
Shock kick.
Yeah, popped it to half forward and missed the target completely, and have to do a lot better than that with or without the breeze. That's a terrible kick as well. So Adcock dumps it down back inside 50. Burgoyne hassled off it. Birchall, Murphy, White cross. Heads wide. Oh, good night just inside the line by Bailey. Still with the knee strapping on. But so far, so good for Max Bailey this year. Ellis back into the team this week. 5th game for the season for Xavier Ellis. Still a lot of players out. Hawthorn, Gibson, White and Cheney again beaten by the boundary line. It's the 2nd time it's been too quick for him.
Well, I think Gibson was trying to kick it over the top of him to get him to run and use the open space rather than hold him up by making him wait for the ball. But as you said, we've seen a couple of those. One at the other end for Brisbane, just run end over end and straight out of bounds.
Hale the palm down. Mitchell tried to pull a free. Redden got the ball, rolled it through Cheney. And once again, Gibson from defence. Tried to reload the Mitchell. Wobbly handball. Hawksley cuts it off. Sheldon should gather just inside the line. Brushes Ellis. Handball. And for Karnesis. Still ball alive here.
2-on-1.
Peels back onto it. Has the shot and misses. A couple of handball options inboard, but
I've seen Patrick Karnesis. He was rested a couple of weeks ago, but gee, the games are played. Finds a lot of space. He just turned Sean Burgoyne around then.
Yeah.
Just a very smart thinker. Reads the play really well.
I reckon the Hawthorn coach's box would be a little bit disappointed with some of the missed tackles thus far. 7-4 the tackles in favour of Brisbane, and the Hawks have let a few slip through their fingers.
this kick from defence will give us an indication. Sits up a little on Franklin, but does carry him, and he's back. Peels onto it. Puopolo calls for it. Franklin ignores him. He runs away from Maguire as if he was standing still and kicks a ripper.
Well, one of the things you would think is of the utmost importance for Matty Maguire, Shorey, is he cannot allow Lance Franklin to get goal side. He's got to buffer him up the ground. He can't get caught under the ball.
Well, he tried to take front position. You don't. I agree totally, Jason.
Take front position if the ball's there to be marked, but when you're not sure of the ball, you can't allow that to happen.
Well, even then, I think you're just taking low percentage any time that you're going to get in front of this man, because he can buffet you under the ball and leg speed. Many of the guys got no hope on that occasion.
And no problems with the rolled ankle. No. A few saying that he might pull out this week, Lance Franklin. All the speed was there. Good start for the Hawks. Hale into the ruck. Leuenberger against him. Won the palm down, but Mitchell almost the clearance. Savage stood under it. Harwood beat him to it. Got it to Hawksley. Retzlaff. Too far out to score. And just pops it up. Jonathan Brown in a 1-on-2. And Gibson read that pretty well.
Gee, well done to Guerra there. Yeah. Didn't Guerra help Gibson out there? It was 1-on-1 there, and Gibson was the floater. Someone's got to be free for Brisbane when they look into the 50 when that's happening.
Cheney. 4th game for the Hawks this year after only 2 games for the Demons last year. They've got a lot out, but someone's going to have to push him out of the team if he has another good game this week. Franklin.
Now, that's where Maguire can concede the mark. Let him lead up.
No doubt.
And if he gets it at half-back or wing, this is going to hurt. A 50-metre penalty.
And look at Buddy go. Maguire here hasn't picked up the run, so he's waiting for it to be set.
He's going to go for goal. He's taken off, and the umpire called time off, so he wasn't allowed.
Generous 50. That's about 70 metres.
Is it what?
Well, that's what you get if you actually make the effort to try and push the 50 out. Birchall tries to bend it back, and even the local boy, Grant Birchall. Devonport, Tassie boy with the family here.
Now look at this.
The big sticks.
Dwayne, this is a 2-on-1. Well done to Guerra to just keep contact so Brown couldn't get to the ball, and Gibson. Brisbane Lions have got to lower their sights and find a player who was free on that occasion. Someone has to be free in 50.
Retzlaff will do the jumping. Had to stay down. Karnisis went up in the end. Almost gave away the free, Karnisis. In fact, he did give away the free. Guerra's ball. Lee Colbert.
The most distinctive thing in the game so far, the trend, if you like, the Hawks are always attacking to this near side, this broadcast side, as much as they can, and then they'll defend out the other side.
Well, that's the left-hand side. That's the left footer's paradise.
See if they go the other side because they're outside this time, outside that zone. Power. Manhandles him off it. It's a handball up, hoping for Simon Black. Free kick though, it'll go Luke Power's way.
One of the parts of his game that Isaac Smith's got to work on. He's got to be stronger body on body. He's got to learn to win that contested footy.
Gibson. Jonathan Brown goes to ground, can't collect it. Sam Mitchell having a rest. David Hale, Sean Burgoyne on the bench. And the subs, by the way, Riley Milne for Hawthorn in game 3 and Rowan Buick a late in for the Brisbane Lions. He was dropped, Rowan Buick, but Jesse O'Brien was a late withdrawal. Shields slung as he got the kick away. So poked by Rockcliffe. And the ball rails out of play in front of the Brisbane Lions. Ryan Harwood. Matthew Leuenberger getting some work done.
Just wondering which way the wind's blowing the greatest advantage. We think it's to the left of screens, Wayne, but it's not real definitive at the moment because Buddy hasn't kicked from outside 50 twice.
Hodge tried to shrug that tackle, just got his arms free. Shields straight up in the air, and Power stood his ground, didn't win the mark. Brust to half forward. Franklin. Maguire used his toe, and it comes off. Adcock to Power. Poor kick. Ellis. Savage. Again, the boundary line is going to beat the running Pierce Hanley. Get another ball in. Garoppolo taking him back to position. Halfway through this opening term, and it's been all the Hawks. 13 minutes gone. And Bailey manhandled by the Irishman. McKeever in game 3. Wins himself a free. Spear pass, Franklin on the move, and the time to stop that.
Gee, that's a good kick. Suckling. He just threaded the needle, and a terrific lead straight at the ball carrier from Lance Franklin. His hands have looked good early today. A couple of times led hard of the ball. Good clean takes.
Well, they need a couple of 2-on-2s like they had up the other end. Gibson and Guerra working together. He's going to need some help, Matty Maguire, today.
44 for the season for Lance Franklin. Already has 1, and he's bent that a lot.
Look at that hold up.
Once it started going on the wind, it just kept going.
It nearly did full circle and came back to it.
I think we might see a few of those today.
Nearly playing man on man. It looks like Hawthorn with the kickings. Huddle in the middle.
Another missed tackle.
Gee, Hanley was brave there. And not so brave as Smith came at him. Wins the ball back, gives to Lance Franklin, and he rolls it into the behind post. That's a ball in. Not a bad option.
Not quite the option he was looking for.
No, but better than out of play on the full.
And better than behind.
Is this worrying signs? Lance Franklin, 6 possessions, 1 goal, 1 assist.
Worrying for who?
Oh, for Brisbane.
Yeah, for the crowd. I think they're enjoying it.
Yeah, no doubt.
They want to see a big Lance afternoon. He normally gives them 5 or 6 here.
He's 1 against 2 again, Brown.
And they keep doing it.
Hands in the back.
And he wins the free. No, he gives the free away.
Yeah, he pushed in the back then.
He thought it was his, and
Now, this
maybe he tried to fool the umpire into thinking it was his.
that was a bit different there. That was a rush kick out of defence. But if they've got time coming through Brisbane, they've got to look for that loose man.
Yeah.
Guerra, Mitchell, Smith again. Just bangs it long. No one was really there. McGrath kept it alive. Stiller in a spot of bother. Rockcliffe the outlet, and he got there for a good mark. They're under siege already, the Brisbane Lions. Just pokes it wide. And how's that seen? It's seen as a shepherd by Sheldon. Thought he was protecting his ground okay. But the umpire said no. He looked around for where Murphy was, and Murphy wins a free.
So they're kicking the ball pretty ordinary coming out of defence, Brisbane now.
You can put this to the top of the square. Wynn gets hold of it a little. Hale backs back. Strong hands.
Too good.
Well, that's what you look for in your bail-out tall option up forward. And the key to that, the key to using that tall option is getting it deep in the forward line. Not somewhere where it can rebound quickly from half back, but where it's deep, you force a contest close to goal, and then at the worst, you get a stoppage, or in this case, a shot for goal from a good contested mark.
This is actually a really tough shot for goal, boys. The Wins is coming between the 2 stands, right in directly to David Hale.
Just look at the goalpost shaking about.
That's what he has ahead of him. And he spears that one beautifully. The breeze moved it late.
Didn't go after it went through.
Well, that's a great mark from, as you say, Jason. If it's not Franklin on the lead and the small players, you need an outlet. And if David Hale can stand up in that role, have his time in the ruck, gee, it takes you through a final series a long way, I would think. But just did well there. Leuenberger, not great positioning. Adcock was under this, but Leuenberger had to be stronger on that occasion. Just pushed off the line with the ball too easily.
Last time these two teams met, it was here, round 16 last year. And Hawthorn opened up with a 7-goal-to-1 opening term, and the game was over. They won by 75 points running away. Brisbane need to be wary right now. Rockcliffe, handball, he missed his palm with it almost. Goes back and gets
Missed
it.
another one.
McKeever dragged down. Osborne wrapped him up. Shields gathers, and the Hawks are away again. Hale again.
You don't know. Look, handball's the easiest skill we know at any level of football, I would think. And the miss, as a senior player, to miss 2 targets from 1 metre away, it's just not good enough.
Well, Hale will know what this ball's going to do. It's going to
go
push hard toward the goal late.
A long way left to right. But can he get the journey kicking into the breeze from 50 is the big question.
Well, the breeze will push it, as we said. Maybe, no, he goes for the short pass.
Wasn't confident.
Good option to Shields.
He's still going to have the 50-metre kick, though. You see Guerra starting to lurk closely by.
But that breeze will kind of be right behind him.
Gibson,
two. Gives it up to Gibson, who goes back again. Guerra, who can bang a long ball, gets it high. Well, distance wasn't the worry in the end. They were afraid of their own shadow.
It is swinging in the breeze once it gets up there. And Colby told us that earlier. Once it gets above the height of the grandstands, it is seriously affected by the breeze.
So Leuenberger, who's had one of his rests already.
Shank. Look at that.
And it's lucky for him, knocked out of play. We're about to tick into time on opening term. And the Brisbane Lions, 15th on the ladder, under siege already. Hawthorn, 4th. Just percentage above the West Coast Eagles right now after the West Coast win. Know how important this is. Savage. And that's a good way of describing that breeze. Just pushed it straight out of play.
I think the disappointing thing thus far, Shaw, is we know Hawthorn started with 7 in defence. This means Brisbane have an extra, but you haven't noticed their extra in their defensive 50.
Not the class that Hawthorn have got.
Stiller. over the head of Leuenberger, almost forced to crumb it. Polkinghorn tried to shrug, got the handball up, off Bailey, off his knee.
Well, I'm thinking, sorry, Dwayne, I'm thinking for Hawthorn, they have to get the ball closest to the camera. They have to get it on this side of the ground. They're really struggling in that dead pocket. If they're going to attack and score, 20 points, if it stays around this mark to half-quarter time, Brisbane might be pretty happy with that.
Mitchell had it stripped from him.
McGrath's been swung forward now.
Hawksley attacks it, left it behind. Ellis slid in, got it to Guerra. Osborne to Mitchell. Tough bouncing ball for Puopolo. Rolls straight past him. Hale's coming hard. Oh, great commitment from both players there. They went low.
Well done, Luke Power.
Power won himself a free kick.
Well, I don't know whether he's coming to the end of his career, but gee, won enormous respect on his attack on the ball there. Both players did too, Dwayne.
So did he win the free for that?
No, the next
No.
one.
Okay.
Poor kick, those, put his teammate under pressure.
Rockcliffe to Rains, coming off the best game of his short time at the Brisbane Lions. The 29 possession game last week in the win over Port Adelaide.
Here's Banfield, got to get involved here.
And Gibson backs back with the flight. Great contest. Kept his eyes on the ball. So even if his arms met Banfield's arms, he was never going to get a free because
look
of
at that.
attacking the mark. Rolls it out. Mitchell. And that was a perfect pass to Shields as well. Crowd showing their appreciation. Mitchell. Young. He could go for goal. There's no one in the square. He gives it off. Smith runs to 45. Trouble brewing.
Gee, that opened up. But you can put that goal down to Josh Gibson's desperation at half-back.
Right.
He was outnumbered. He broke a couple of tackles. Now, he dives on it, drags it in, but then very quickly gets it out because he knows he's got a defensive sweeper. Just waiting for the ball to be pushed out, and that opened it up. A couple of passes later, this is happening, and plenty of teammates going to Josh Gibson after that passage of play.
All right, Isaac Smith, you said he's got to get better in the body on body. He can run with the ball and time it.
He's got the goods, Isaac Smith.
Has he what?
Few to come back. Cyril Rioli needs to come back in. Brent Renoff. They won't get Jared Roughead back, but they will get Jordan Lewis, Brad Sewell. Unfortunately, still miss Stratton and Gillum, but just a long list. Chance Bateman also to come back into this lineup for the Hawks. So a lot out today, maybe 10 of their regular best 22, and they're still dominating. Birchall, Shields, Burgoyne, Guerra, Whitecross, Birchall to half forward. Hanley got there first. Another ugly handball though. Bailey gets down low. Leuenberger just as low. Wrapped up, dragged down, played for the free. Guerra tried to shuffle it out. The umpire needs to sort it out. Jordan Lyle, Rick Ladson, a couple of names I didn't mention. Maybe even Ryan Schoenmakers force his way back into this Hawthorn team before finals. 25 points the margin. Little palm down, flick back. Whitecross couldn't break free with it. Rains does. Loops the handball nicely to Redden. Retzlaff. Redden. Bumped on the kick. Got it to Cummings.
Well done there. They lowered their eyes in. I looked behind to see Jonathan Brown. It was 2-on-1 again. They have to keep doing this, Brisbane. They will find a player free every time they go inside 50, but it's not going to be the high-profile Jonathan Brown all the time.
And the other thing they did, sure, it's the first time they've played on after a mark.
Yeah.
Brisbane. He's got to convert.
The Hawthorn citizens in Melbourne against the Hawks, and didn't he measure that well?
That's a great play, this kid.
Well, you can see the goal umpire late. He got very close to the left-hand goal post, and that travelled a long way right to left. But here it is, the short lead-up, and then the quick hand pass. That was what opened things up forward, and they didn't just kick it blindly to Jonathan Brown, who you could see had two on him again, Gibson and Murphy. This kick starts out at the right post, and then have a look at everyone start running towards the other post.
Asked Jonathan Brown last week, Dwayne, about Patrick Kanitzis. I just like the way he goes about it. And he said in pre-season he played on Daniel Merritt and Joel Patfull in one-on-one competitive games. and took them to the cleaners.
Yeah,
You know, the two of
okay.
their best defenders as such.
He was impressive. Brown. There's Simon Black. You have to go back and get it. Savage. And that was two Savage attacks.
I think he's paid that again. There's 50.
Yeah.
It is, so they might get two in a row here, the Brisbane Lions, just what they needed.
Yeah, and that's a dumb 50 to give.
Tell you what, Blackie won it within 30. Just that penetration's gone out of the legs as he's got a bit older.
So he'll need every bit of his experience here, Simon Black.
Well, it gets him back in the game if he kicks this. All of a sudden, there's no damage done.
Been a little dodgy at goal this year. 2 goals, 6 coming into this. He keeps it low. 2 goals, 7. And that's very un-Simon Black-like, his goal scoring this year.
The penetration goes at the end of your career, Dwayne, I would think, and maybe then when you pull the ball because you don't kick through it, then the confidence goes, even though you're a senior champion, as he's been.
Banfield getting a rub. Simon Black has said that he will have
a kick.
one last farewell season next year. Hanley. He keeps it low. Tough ball to mark, although it was marked well by Suckling in the end. And super boot. Suckling heads wide to Cheney. Have you seen better, Jason? You played with the great Darren Jarman.
There's no better kick than Darren Jarman.
Okay. So we can't compare him to Darren Jarman just yet?
No, and Jarman had the same on both feet.
Okay.
He's done it
All
again.
right, here we go. He's already kicked one like this. He's got one cross out wide, runs to 50, free kick, play on advantage, and now it'll come back.
No,
He's paid a 50-metre penalty.
Yeah.
He's paid a 50-metre penalty for taking Franklin out of the play after he got rid of it and not allowing him to continue on and support the player that he hand passes it to. So he shoots a hand pass out, and then that is a very soft 50-metre penalty because...
So the umpire wave play on here.
Yeah, I think the advantage should have overruled the 50, didn't it? You cannot have both.
I don't think it was a 50-metre penalty to start with.
No.
But is there a... Okay, you're allowed to overrule the player's desire to play on?
I don't think
Isn't
you
it?
No. A 50-metre penalty
Overrules
overrules everything.
Okay.
You cannot play on if a 50-metre penalty's been given.
Oh, so he's already done that before.
Yes.
He played, yes, okay.
I think the umpire realised, hang on, that's a 50-metre infringement, I have to pay it.
And Franklin kicks it out of the stadium.
And this is where the Simon Black miss is costly. That's a 2-goal turnaround. Instead of being 4 goals to 2, it's 5-1. Now, I think this is a really harsh decision. Now, he's not. Contact was inevitable, and it's minimal.
Yeah.
Because he's chasing, and Franklin is going to shepherd wide cross after he's given the hand pass
See the
anyway.
umpire wave on then.
Yeah, but then the umpire realised the infringement actually carries a 50-metre penalty, and that has to overrule the play on court.
So he corrected
So
himself.
he got himself correct, yes.
The 2 goals to Lance Franklin. Started the day with 43. Is now equal with Jack Rewalt on 45 for the season in their little race for the Coleman. And it's back to a 24-point margin, 2 minutes from quarter time.
Massive turnaround, as Jason said, with Simon Black missing that goal.
Yeah, and an experienced player like Simon Black shouldn't be doing that to his team. Rains floats it again, but Jonathan Brown slightly out of position. Lays a tackle on Murphy, but he got his arms free. Pure below. Gibson has been superb so far. Ellis had to wait.
Interesting handball.
Hodge made it look all right. Back to Ellis and said, if you're going to put me in trouble, I'll put you in trouble. Suckling the roller. Missed the target. Hatchville makes it somebody else's problem. Off Retzlaff's hands. Sheldon got there first. Simon Black. Quick give. Rains. Not sure what he was trying to do there, but certainly not that. Hodge dragged down. And gets the benefit of the doubt that he was thinking about or trying to get rid of it. Ball up.
Now, we can just see on the left of the screen there, Matty Maguire on Lance Franklin. I don't think Maguire should be equal with him there, Jason. Should be 5 metres or 10 metres goal side.
Simon Black. Banfield just had some work done on his back, just on. Couldn't take the mark. Gibson goes back. Murphy back to Gibson. Not a lot to go to. Hodge, Power right with him. And Power beats him this time, although Hodge, second effort, superb. Off some hands. Bailey lurking. Franklin wanted him to run onto it. Bailey wasn't that quick. McKeever, the Irishman falls over.
Falling over everywhere.
The breeze shouldn't be causing them to fall over.
They're played on here. They don't know it, I don't think.
No, nobody knew. So Power can go. 26 seconds left. Retzlaff. Birchall thumped it away from him. Hodge got a free for too high.
There's that centering kick, Jason, you talk about, you know, as in going in the corridor and turning it over. It's good if you win the ball, but if you don't, they should rebound fairly quickly.
Guerra, so unless he bangs this long and they get a mark, it will be a 24-point margin. Shortish kick to Franklin, and he got manhandled and got a free. Will he load up with a torpedo can if he wants to?
He's got the energy.
He says, I can't be bothered. 24 points will do us. Quarter time, round 16 clash at Aurora Stadium in Launceston. And the Hawks, who had the breeze in the opening term, 5-2-32 to 1-2. Leuenberger and Bailey. Power tried to win it out, couldn't decisively. And Jonathan Brown playing up at centre half forward, so trying to get a little closer to the action. Gibson's followed him up there.
Yeah, they've got the win, Brisbane. I don't know why you'd have it allow a loose man in defence again here.
Hodge to Franklin, and he got there but couldn't complete the mark. Puopolo had it but dropped it as he was tackled. Back in, gets up, handball smothered. Handling, flicked out. Maguire, arms free, had an enormous amount of time. And again, Puopolo tries to squeeze it out. Patfull, an untidy start to this second term. Rains wide. Jonathan Brown, who, as I said, is playing up a little closer to the ball, traps it and scoops a handball out. Cheney read it well, got there first, manhandled off it. Polkinghorne got it up just in time. Rockcliffe wide. Redden.
Yeah, got the loose over the top.
Leuenberger really worked hard to get into that spot.
Now Brown's in a one-on-one situation.
32 plays 8.
Uh-oh.
McGrath.
You just don't like seeing Ruckman do that.
Just drive it in.
And he keeps it low, and Mitchell cut it off with ease. Also in line for his first All-Australian jumper this year, the age of 28, Sam Mitchell. Hard to believe he hasn't won one. She's in good form. Goes back and gets this. Guerra.
Oh, they're under the pump here. Tackles have got to stick here.
Birchall, Ellis, Bailey, and dances his way around Retzlaff. Hodge just smacks it on. That's worth a kick. Adcock. Not a lot to go to.
Oh, don't say
Franklin's
bloody
dragged
on.
him down and ball.
Well, both teams getting themselves in trouble by overuse of handball. That's the problem.
Gets it low, and Young got there but couldn't complete the mark. Young dives in and lays half a tackle.
He got there in
Try and
time.
make amends.
It was a bullet path, but I think he got there in time.
Hodge, third man up. Puopolo. Oh, good gather in the end. The Shields spears it towards goal. Sensational start for the Hawks.
Well, they're a big rap for Paul Puopolo down at Hawthorn because he has a crack. He's got aggression. He's one of those little tyros that can play at either end, either as a small defender and do a shutdown job, or he can play as an attacking small forward who will just go hard at the footy. And have a look at him come at it here. He doesn't care who else is around. He's not getting out of anybody's way. He just has his eyes on the ball. And then once he takes clean possession, fires out a terrific hand pass and sets up the goal for Shields.
Just shows you don't have to be pure with your handball. We saw Luke Hodge on the wing here, belt the ball 40 metres forward, and it caused a turnover anyway. At that time, he was third man up in the contest. Just get the ball inside 50 and the pressure just, moves on to the defenders.
Bar recalls it. This is the biggest lead of the game, 30 points.
Again, the Hawks have got a loose in defence. It looks like it's suckling at the moment. And a loose for Brisbane, probably Pierce Hanley.
Rockcliffe tried to quick-fire handball. Bailey, Hodge, can't run free, use some strength. Savage, that's a good wobbler, got 60 metres on it. Off some hands, Franklin lurking again. Pounces, got it, runs, gives, Mitchell left it behind. Patfull, Randall Wall, Rockcliffe, McGrath. He keeps it low. Jonathan Brown gathered, was slick with the handball. It's not what Suckling was after. Had to go back and try and get it back. Cheney luckily mops up his mess. And they've got the loose man on the overlap. White cross. Gets and goes. Wastes no time. Sends it to the pocket. Too wide for Hale.
Well, it's a mistake, yes, but at least the intention was right. He played on, he moved it quickly, tried to get it to a forward one-on-one. So they're the mistakes that you're a lot more forgiving towards as a coach.
McKeever. Big Irishman. Heads it wide. The breeze pushes it and pushed it too far.
Well, there's that Bermuda Triangle that Colby was talking about. You don't want it on that side. You want to score down the other end of the ground to our left of the screen.
Bailey, 6th season on the Hawthorn list. Great story of perseverance and faith by Hawthorn hierarchy. White cross. He went for goal. Hit the post. Was there ever a time you guys thought of ditching Max Bailey? He's 25 this year. It's game, what, 13? 6 seasons it took?
He's a young man of the highest quality, Dwayne. One of the blokes that you say at any cost we want him in the system because he's that sort of bloke.
And he's repaying your faith. Cut off by Gibson. Another man is repaying your faith.
That's Jonathan Brown's. That's his opponent, and he's tried to chip in the space, and it was intercepted.
Savage to Whitecross. Thought about playing on. Brisbane getting numbers back. Sits that up.
Left side of the ground again.
McKeever got there. Hale with the fist knocks it down. Pockinghorn just in time, the reins to Hanley.
Gee, that's a good chase from Hale.
Little flick up from Mitchell. Savage short. Smith tried to reward him with the handball back again. Stripped. Sheldon. Harwood.
That's a 2-metre kick because there was no one forward.
Redden to Jonathan Brown. Karnesis calling for it long. It's a Karnesis versus 3. McGrath thought about taking the step.
They've got to be patient now. There's 2 players behind the play, deep in front of the goal square.
Well, Brown wants a short one.
And he gets it, and he might be within range, Jonathan Brown.
Thinks he is.
He lets the world know I'm going for it.
Well, he's got to belt this to the left-hand goal side. I reckon in between the points and the goals on the left side to make that Wimble just catch it and bring it back.
It's interesting because we saw Franklin once or twice
didn't want to have a go.
To have a shot from outside 50 because he thought it was probably beyond him.
Man on the mark can come forward a little. He does now. Jonathan Brown gives some sky.
He'll go left.
And Bailey flies high, can't mark it. Retzlaff can't keep it alive. Ball in. Jonathan Brown coming off a 4-goal game last week in reasonable form. Brisbane coming in to this off a win. Hawks coming in off a loss. Brisbane should be reasonably confident of having a crack here where they've got some reasonable form in the past as well. Free kick to Hodge.
That's not a massive statement, but if this was to be close to their forward play, I know they've got a few players out, but you cannot win a premiership with Jonathan Brown as dominant as a forward or a target as he is today.
Almost trouble there. Burgoyne just got it up in time to Hodge to Birchall. Well, that's why they've brought in so many other options to try. Karnesis and brought in Retzlaff. Brisbane Lions. Hale sees us out with McKeever.
The thing is, you bring them in, but you don't see the abilities they've got, Dwayne, because they keep going back to Brown. You can have as many players as you want around him, but if you keep going to the well too many times, so easy to defend. We've seen Gibson do it beautifully. Murphy's helping him out behind play again.
Simon Black with the handball. Harwood has some space. Needs to make something of it. Gave it to Redden. He keeps it low. Jonathan Brown should soccer this one. No. Goes back to pick it up. Karnesis got back. Gibson's playing an outstanding game. Got it to Burgoyne, to Hodge. And now the boundary line is a win. If it travels out, and it does.
Well, there's an interesting stat. If you look at the inside 50s on face value, 16 to 10 in favour of Hawthorn, as we see the desperation of Gibson. 16 to 10 is not great, but you wouldn't say it's a nightmare. But the follow-on from that story is Hawthorn's had 24 possessions in their attacking 50 to 4 for Brisbane. So it's the quality of ball going forward.
Just dropped that. Did Sheldon? No, free. Hodge. Banked forward. Franklin's direction.
Look out.
Maguire turns him inside out. paddles to his own advantage, slips up, shorts it. That's as good as it gets. So Whitecross can go for it if he wants to. Probably just too far out to score with this tricky breeze.
Turn Maguire inside out again. I still think he's starting too close to him.
Franklin now getting back to the square just in case this doesn't travel the journey. Wind pushing it out, doesn't travel the... Well, it does. Yeah. Blew it wide and blew it through for a behind.
Just a bit too quick off the mark once he gets goal side. But good persistence, a good chase from Maguire.
And the athleticism on top of it all for a man of that size, 6'6", Guerra. Ball in.
Talking about that Brisbane Lions forward setup, Retzlaff's had the ball twice. Banfield has not touched the ball. You've got to have players involved in your forward line, especially crumbing players in windy conditions like this with Banfield.
Hale to Savage. Whitecross, Guerra almost run down from behind. Suckling. See his mind ticking over, not a lot to go to. Gibson. Birchall.
He's had 15 possessions, Gibson, equal with Luke Hodge.
And he's earned a lot of them. They haven't been just handballs running past. He's been superb. There's the launch. Franklin 4 to beat. Can't beat them all. Ball knocked down. Stiller got it up. Adcock. Rains to Stiller. Ran into a brick wall. Back to Rains. Karnesis. Good. There's the hands.
Gee, it was a good kick too. It had to be perfect. They were outnumbered there.
Wanted to go long.
Here.
Power, and Mitchell keeps his feet after the spoil. Puopolo's the target. Up. One hand. Two. What fantastic. Back to the middle. Murphy. Chips it to Ellis. I'm not sure it was meant for him. Not 15, and that was horrendous.
What was that going to be?
Got a little too cute there.
That was a shank.
Well, I think the player he was aiming for was only 5 metres away to start with.
Oh.
Shocker. Lucky to get away with the stoppage.
Leuenberger with a flick down. Puopolo. Brace free. Smith. Raked off it. Simon Black dives in. Knocked back to him. Hodge. Trying to do some work in there hard. I think Simon Black knows who's around. .32 points halfway through the second term.
Third man up.
Oh, brilliant.
So Ellis, Osborne, Franklin just rolled over on it. Still gets up. Brushes a tackle. Handball up with the hands free. Hodge dragged down. Got it away just in time. Stiller turned into traffic. Redden. And now Leuenberger can get and go. Not a lot to go too long. Redden's about to realise that. For the short to Karnesis, the only option.
Got it from Brown's long and deep, 1-on-1.
And the kick not bad. It's in front of him. Gibson cut down the space. Banfield.
He's the man.
Outside of the boot. Missed it.
Well, that's not bad, was it? A 1-on-1 space and someone under his feet. If you're going to go to him, you've got to get players around the contest.
Saw Banfield getting some work done on his hamstring a few moments ago. He's back from a 2-week layoff because of a hamstring. Let's hope he's okay. Shields. Burgoyne. Suckling. He keeps it low. That's spectacular as well. Proust. And he's got Puopolo if he wants him. He gives it to Hodge instead. Long. Could have gone the long kick. Tried the handball for Hodge to set it up. So Brisbane on the rebound here. It'll come back, unfortunately, for Hawksley. I thought he was about to get a possession. Stiller. Rains. Redden. Simon Black. Jonathan Brown. Bump ball. Harwood could have the shot from there. This pops it in the Retzlaff direction and he protects Simon Black, who missed a very easy shot at goal in the opening term and saw one go straight down the other end for a Hawthorn goal He knows how big this moment is.
Yeah, chance to redeem himself here, and probably a more comfortable kick for him. Doesn't feel like it's in the face of that breeze.
Game 289 for the superstar. 2 goals, 7 for the season, as we said earlier. And he has 2 goals, 8 now.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the kick off the boot. It was actually a good kick. That's just a misjudgment of wind. Big swing on it, taking it into the right-hand post.
Guerra. Told to go. Straight down the middle to Ellis.
That is beautiful.
Shields. They are playing with the Lions at the moment. Hale.
Guopolo's on.
Guopolo can get and go. There's not a lot around him. Collects. Little fumble. Gets past Adcock initially.
Just tried to do too much. Got caught by the jumper.
Tell you what, the tackle had to stick then because he was just nearly past it.
Just
Adcock.
got a handful of jumper.
Yeah.
Adcock back pocket. Margin 30 points. Lions with a slight breeze, even though it's swirling. Simon Black over his head. Ellis as fell as he went to pick it up. Jonathan Brown working back into defence. Power, Rains, McGrath. Kickable maybe by his standards. He goes the short pass. Banfield, he spills it. Might be a bit rusty. As I said, first game back after a couple of weeks off.
He's gone.
And he will get a shot at goal. So he mops up that little mess.
Gee,
and the Lions should get one here.
A very lucky let-off. That's a perfect pass. You've got to mark that. That's just concrete hands.
Good to see McGrath just drop his eyes down a little bit too. That's exactly what they're going to hit that person up. Banfield nearly messed it up.
Didn't have much option where he had to drag the ball in because he was outnumbered 1 against 2. And then, unfortunately, once he did get hold of the ball, he couldn't get it out.
20 seconds!
Now, it's almost an identical position from where Simon Black just hit the post. So they should know what the breeze is doing.
He's been more of a sharp shooter this year. Todd Banfield, 15 goals, 10. Lets the breeze do some work on that, and it doesn't do much at all. Although Jonathan Brown's marked it in front of the post.
Gee, that's poor. You've got 2 talls there, including the ruckman, and no one competes for it.
Just watch how he does this. Just for any youngster at home. Oh, no, I reckon that was a mark in front of.
Yeah, he's paid it.
You watch how he does this. Any youngster at home, the control, couple of steps in, 2 to the outside, I would think, and hooking around. He's in total control here.
Here he is. There's a couple of steps in. And youngsters at home, you just got a tutorial.
Well, it wasn't really hard, Dwayne. You just know that this man's in control every time he goes on the football field. And Banfield, well, this was a shank too. It wasn't the greatest. Have a look at the flight on that. I reckon Jaso's 2 defenders are a bit unlucky because it just spun that badly. You'd think it was going to go out in the full.
Well, they all thought it was going out, yeah. No one actually tracked the footy.
And there's the control. Great players do it.
Big 6 minutes 50 coming up here to half-time. Brisbane Lions have the breeze. They could play their way back into contention. Hodge and Brown, 2 Western District boys. Geelong Falcon Western District boys head-to-head. One from Colac, one from Warrnambool. And both hard nuts. Rains goes wide. Redden takes off.
50
and
metres.
50. And he can have a shot from wherever the umpire puts
Jonathan
him.
Brown off the ball, Dwayne.
Okay, the 2 hard nuts who know each other pretty well.
Against Hodge.
Okay. Big John O'Brien for 2 in a minute.
He can't believe it, Luke Hodge.
Left-hand side, I reckon nearly halfway between the left-hand point post and goal post here with that wind.
You'd keep it that left.
Yeah, it'll come back. If you give it any height, it's going to go to that right-hand pocket of this goal.
So Tony Shaw says give the goals away. And it bends back with perfection. 2 in a row to Jonathan Brown, and the Lions are back.
Well, they're right in it now, just 3 goals down. That's not a lot in today's footy. And we didn't really see what the free kick was for. He paid it for holding against Luke Hodge on Jonathan Brown, but he still had to finish from just outside 50. That is Splendid kick from there. A really impressive kick in these conditions.
Big clearance coming up. Another goal to Brisbane on half-time here. Back in the game.
Luke Hodge still protesting his innocence. Probably wouldn't expect anything else. 18 points. Clearance important. Rockcliffe almost got that out. Simon Black does. Redden the clearance. Sheldon takes off. He could go for goal. Runs to the paint. Not bad off the boot. It's long.
Oh, holding the man.
No drag down free. It's a it is. The umpire waited to see if it was a goal. It wasn't. Free kick to Powell.
Well, they've just gone bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, was it in the square?
Yeah, it was.
Free in the square?
No doubt.
It must have been because he's not putting him on any angle. Must have been just inside the line. Otherwise, he would have been on an angle. And in the blink of an eye, it's a 12-point game.
Well, Alistair Clarkson, we just saw that huddle before with Luke Hodge and whatever. With this clearance, Sheldon playing in front, the ball holding up, and then plays on, which makes it hard for any to defend. You can see Guerra there back. Great camera work. Just looking to try find power, but in the end wrapped him up. And the umpire said he took his eye off the ball, so good movement, ball movement by the Brisbane Lions. Clearance first and then play off from Sheldon.
Once you put the arms around a player, you're in trouble.
Luke Powell gets a rest for his trouble. And we've got a game. Tricky Breeze has played havoc on a few occasions. Players from both teams. And a big couple of minutes coming up here to half-time. Lions have been getting the clearances. Jonathan Brown gets the clearance with a fist. Suckling. Who claimed the mark. Birchall. White cross. Spent that before he'd earned it. Birchall. Mitchell. Hale. Stiller gets there first. Redden. Rockcliffe. Leuenberger. Gee, they've got their tails up right now, the Lions. Simon Black to Retzlaff. Gave it off. Back to Rains. Retzlaff still lurking. Bang! Gibson. Well, he aimed at the ball and he got all ball. He could have taken the player if he wanted to be nasty about it, but the win of the ball was good enough for him.
Why would he stop? Why wouldn't you run on and set something up there, Osborne? Really strange decision that. He had space in front of him and he had players running back towards goal and he chooses to stop. Hard to work out.
Yeah, just before that, Andrew Rains in the middle of the ground. He's just come off the ground now for Banfield. Just the wrong handball over the top. He had a man out wide, just better peripheral vision.
5-men jump at the ruck contest in the end. Harwood collects and goes, and Banfield can do likewise. No one in front of him. You know he wants Jonathan Brown. He wasn't there, so goes to Rockcliffe. And unfortunately, a little fumble allows a few Hawks to get back. Rockcliffe again. Carnesis short, up, and plucked by Cheney.
Gee, they're under the pump now, winning a fit number of clearances now. The Brisbane Lions on top in that area in this quarter for the last 10 minutes.
Sits it up for Bailey and Hale. Harwood, no prior opportunity, but now he needs to get it out. Does to Maguire, who conveniently finds the boundary in front of Polkinghorne, playing in front of the team that his dad played for, son of Hawk Robert, former Hawk, for a little while. Back into play. Hale knocks it down. That's in the back, surely.
Did that beautifully, Sammy Mitchell. Knew the pressure was on his back and just dropped at the knees.
Inside 4 minutes to half-time.
Oh, that's great on this.
Guerra got the benefit of the doubt that that was a full 15. Burgoyne. Retzlaff holds him up. Forces him to go to Whitecross. He's got Ellis if he wants him. Or a longer option was Birchall. Hale. It's a different Hawthorn right now. A little stagnant, not taking the game on. Worried about attacking. Ellis. And different lines right now. They can smell another goal or maybe two before half time. They've kicked the last three, the Lions. Ellis. Inside 3 minutes. Franklin couldn't really get a run at it, but still came up with it regardless. Knocked out of his hands. Mitchell plays for a free. Could well have got it. Hatfield a little lucky there.
Gee, they did well there, Brisbane Lions. Just stopped the flow from the Hawks. The Hawks didn't mind the tempo footy because they love that possession-style game, but it forced them to kick down the line. The turnover here.
Umpires found something, and it's a Lions free to Leuenberger against Hale.
What they have done, Brisbane, is they've started to get on top in the clearances in this second term, and that's really helped them.
All the way back. Hanley. Conceded 50 metres there, Adcock. And he leaves it behind, and he's in a big spot of bother. Back to Hanley. Finally picks up. Takes on Brust, loses. Got to be ball.
Well, that kick backwards to you don't mind if you switch and you can play on and get space, but then they still have one-on-ones the other side. They couldn't break it open. Then that kick only forces the front of pressure.
Puts it up, hoping Franklin can run onto it, and he's almost got it. Puopolo ran into a wall. No prior opportunity, ball up, but a good spot for a ball up for Hawthorn.
He judged it a bit better than the others, Franklin. In the end, he got his hands to it pretty cleanly. Probably should have taken the mark.
He just dropped on him at the last second. Didn't know whether to have his hands, palms up or down. Rockcliffe having an outstanding season to Hawksley, whose kick was poor. Cheney will send it back. Down to 1 minute and 40 to half time. It's been all the Lions in the last 10 minutes. Puts it up high again, hoping for Franklin. Not even there. Hale dragged down. Mitchell off hands. That would have been spectacular.
Yeah, great to see. He's front and centre work. You just love to see it, Sammy Mitchell.
Talk about Hodges' 40 possession game last week, but Sam Mitchell had 34 in his own right.
And he's at 18 at the moment, so on track for another biggie.
Hanley, Hawksley,
Tough
Hatfield, Simon Black, the go-to get-out man. Hugs the boundary. Jonathan Brown.
That is a good mark, isn't it?
13 points the margin, 1 minute from half-time. Retzlaff edged out of it by Burgoyne well. With a ball in. But still a chance for a late Lions score. 25 points was the margin at quarter time. It did stretch out beyond 30. Now just 13 the margin. Mitchell, Ellis. Bounces it half forward. Franklin used his body. Maguire tracked the ball down, and that's got to be deliberate too, surely.
Yeah.
Franklin wants to play on quickly. He doesn't know how long left. The clock stopped at 41. The umpires held it up. Now calls time to go again. Guerra. Lions just need to hold strong here for another few seconds. Ellis inside 30 seconds.
Yeah, Leuenberger back deep, so no tall target.
Cord to go. Hale lurking inside 50. Cut off well. Just lurking in front. Polkinghorne took a very valuable mark. They can go in with some momentum here, the Brisbane Lions.
Just where he's marked that, Dwayne, that left-hand side that we know Hawthorn really played to that side in their forward 50. They've kicked 4 goals 3 to 2 goals 2 to the other side. They love playing that side of the ground.
Fans have come to Aurora Stadium late, and they've got a game to watch. 6-5-41, the Hawks at half-time to the Lions. 4-4-28, the Hawks by 13. Now for Jonathan Brown, 209 games. And he maybe even this afternoon will become the 50th player ever, Jonathan Brown, to reach the magical 500 goal figure.
Hawks again starting with a spare in defence.
Back underway. Bailey and Leuenberger, they eyed each other and they went at it. Polkinghorne slips it inside 50 through Sheldon. Guerra, trouble, ducked his way out of it nicely. Burgoyne, Cheney, Hodge. Nice to get a feel of the ball early in the half. Young. And Gibson. And he's coming off a 16-possession opening half. Josh Gibson back to Guerra. The Franklin, that's out of the copybook. Takes off, left foot from the paint. Bends it back a little too far. Leuenberger takes the mark.
Gee, that was a terrific pass from Guerra.
Been a good play for Brent Guerra.
Yep.
To the outer side, Leuenberger, pat full. That's a good grab as well. Too strong for Smith. Put Simon Black under some pressure. Release handball to Rains, who spears it down the line, and that was unopposed by Murphy. And the umpire said it was a marking contest.
Always surprises me why players in front punch.
Well,
why not mark the ball?
I've got no idea. Just a lack. It has to be a lack of confidence.
Umpire does have an option there if he thinks it's not a marking contest to pay a free kick for deliberate out of bounds.
He didn't have an opponent, Dwayne, so could have had to look at it.
Hanley, almost, not the second grab. Hodge strips it, danger, White cross, runs through the tackle, and from 35, squeezes it in.
We made a decision, Brendan Whitecross. He took the tackle on because he didn't want to have to be forced to kick under pressure on his left foot. So he puts the foot down and thinks, if I can break the tackle, I can then straighten and kick on my natural foot. And that's what he was able to do. Good vision from Hodge. The hand pass releases him. Right there, he just says, no, I'm going to take the tackler on. I think I can break it. And then a much better chance of finishing settled on your natural foot than under pressure on your opposite foot. Bit of emotion starting off the second half of the Hawks. Whitecross getting his name on the board with a goal and finishing off some good work. So is that the sort of play that's going to kickstart the third quarter for the Hawks?
Hawks with a slight breeze advantage in this third. Simon Black to Redden. Put his teammate under pressure, Leuenberger. Mitchell came up with it. Kick half smothered. Patfull to McGrath. Through some traffic, Jonathan Brown lurking. Got it. A long way from where he'd like to be, though. Keeps it low. Power.
Dangerous kick.
Burgoyne right with him. And Mitchell seems to be in the right spot so often. Savage to Young. Uses some toe. Torpedo inside 50. And that's a mark to Hale.
That's a super mark because that was a mongrel torp that just went like a dart too. But we've mentioned it a few times, Shorey. That kick from Brown back into centre half forward is a dangerous spot to turn the footy over.
Well, it is centre half forward. You know, you don't mark the ball, and he kicked to Luke Power too, who's probably about wouldn't even be 6 foot, 5'10" at the most, maybe. Not the greatest, I would think, effective kick into that area. Good mark by Hale though. That was back to the 1970s with those mongrel punts.
Now has to finish.
Yeah, it's got to be somewhere near the left post.
Keeps it relatively low. It does bend late. But that was dazzling.
Well, as Jason said, that turnover from centre half forward just kills you. Mitchell was involved in it. I think that was Young who kicked that ball in, but it wasn't the greatest floating ball. But Hale did well to keep his eye on the ball here. We can see this come off the boot, and it's floating each way. And it just was it Niall McKeever just lost sight of the ball then. Cannot do that. Turn your back on it. You're out of the contest.
First 2 goals of the third term to the Hawks.
With the rough head injury, he has become as important as just about any player on Hawthorn's list, David Hale.
He does some ruck work. Leuenberg outreaches him. Harwood going nowhere.
Gee, they're young in the centre bounce. Harwood was in there. Rockcliffe was in there. They're showing a lot of faith in some of their younger players, Brisbane. And Polkinghorn.
Ellis, fourth man up, missed it. Rockcliffe hacks it to half forward. Suckling back, did the hard work. Dropped the mark. Gibson. Outstanding game continues for him. Burgoyne, kick half smothered. Hodge almost made it look okay. Patfull dumped by Osborne. Good tackle. Vicious but legal. And he
how
gets
can you
off it
play
too
high contact there when he's got his head down, burrowing out?
The old 1-2 with Hale. Sends it long. Bailey back in the pack. And unfortunately for Max Bailey, who thought he was going to get his first ever goal, gives the free kick away. And Niall McKeever, just outside Belfast, gives it off to the other Irishman, Pierce Hanley.
Good kick.
Redden.
Rockcliffe's worked hard for him.
And Rockcliffe reached. Karnesis tracks it out with Cheney, and that's on the full.
Gee, that's unlucky.
And they had a bit of luck rolling for them in the last 10 minutes of the second term. The Lions helped them get back into it. They could be blown back out of it. Quick smart here. Mitchell to Franklin. Off hands. Bailey lurking again. Went off the deck. Got a piece of it. McKeever got it out just in time. Maguire. Patfull. Hanley. Brust. He just waltzed in front.
Yep, and the one thing you can't do in this game is wait for the ball to come to you. Even though you think it might get to you, you've got to attack the footy because the game doesn't stand still. It was a dangerous kick, but Brisbane had a couple of players there and one of them needed to attack the footy, not wait for it.
Last week's nominee for the NAB Rising Star, Luke Brust, a sharpshooter, 13-5 for the year.
Missed it. The other thing, though, even if you stand there waiting for the mark, I know that's not good, but that centering kick, that's only a 25-metre kick. Like, if you belt it to the other side of the ground, it might go out of bounds as Hanley kicks in, but, gee, that was a dangerous centre. And it turned out it got away with it.
Leuenberger had the reach on Young, goes back. Young has some toe, almost brings him down. Mitchell back. Hale. Turnover. Karnesis. I think he was as surprised as anybody to get a Karnesis. To Leuenberger. To Harwood. Adcock bangs it long in hope. Sheldon flies. That's a spectacular mark.
Got Brown one out, but he wants to go back and have the shot.
Well, he's pretty keen on this, isn't he? He's just saying to everybody, hold on, boys.
Well, they need to get a tall back, Hawthorn. There's no tall back.
So, on previous form, this will bend right to left.
And it is all one-on-one down on the goal line.
And on previous form, it might not make the distance. It's going. It's going.
Right.
It's gone. Enormous goal for the Lions' chances here.
Well, you just got to congratulate Sammy Sheldon. As soon as he marked that ball, he waved players off. Isn't it cruel? He's coming to the bench now. We've only been playing for 2 minutes or 3 minutes of the quarter. He takes a great mark, kicks a goal where everybody thought maybe he'll struggle with the distance here. Nice sleep at this ball too. Kept his eye on, and he said, no, boys, I'm taking this on. I'm pretty confident about this. And he made it look easy, Dwayne. Where's that wing gone? It's not there.
Well, he put a fair bit behind the kick. He got some shoe on it. So there's the automatic rotation as a rest. And for the record, if you have joined us late, the two subs yet to be used, Riley Milne for Hawthorn and Rowan Buick, who was a late in after being dropped initially.
Just wondering about Colby. Has that wind changed around, Lee?
It hasn't really changed, mate, but it is noticeably, it has dropped.
McGrath hard on Ellis. Put the kick off though. Hanley almost turned back into trouble. Stiller try and get them out of trouble. Hanley having an outstanding year. Rains back to Hanley.
Got some good run here.
Patfull have created the loose, but he sits it up for Jonathan Brown. Gibson's there. Brown, Burgoyne with the fist. Almost as good as a handball. Murphy. Shields. Tackle. Got it to Ellis. Hodge strong. Nearly passed that off rugby style. Osborne. What will Franklin do? Take them on. Back to Osborne. Maybe within range. Puopolo is within range. It takes his opportunity.
Well, one of the things I liked about this passage of play is when Lance Franklin had the ball, the only option to kick to was Sam Mitchell, who you can see leading bottom of screen. He's not the quickest player. He certainly isn't the tallest player. So Franklin thought rather than go for a low percentage Mitchell, who is not a regular leading forward, keep the ball in hand, draw and give. And that set up Osborne to give it to Puopolo, who kicks the goal. They just made something really out of what didn't appear to be a lot.
23 years of age in his debut season, turning 24 this year. Spectacular piece of recruitment on current form, Paul Puopolo.
Yeah, what it is, Dwayne, when you think that he's done it in the back line this year and had some big jobs, and then he looks like he can play forward as he's just tough at it, head over the ball. Just shows you can play anywhere on the ground if you've got that mentality and that ability.
Bruce stripped of it. McGrath runs. Rains ran into Whitecross, just got it up in time. Hawksley hassled off it. Mitchell breaks it free. Savage, Guerra, Mitchell. Just got it off in time to Smith. And he goes straight away.
Great vision. Yeah.
Ellis wide. Murphy on the open side. Elects not to go for goal. He goes to the hot man. And it was just the required 15 for Puopolo, who kicked one from just about here moments ago.
I reckon what makes that a good decision is he ignored Franklin, who was leading into the
great
pocket.
get up. Great get.
He's handed that off in the end to Superboot Suckling. He hasn't lived up to his name.
I reckon you hit that on the head then, Jason. He was open nearly, Franklin. You probably thought he'd go to him 60 or 70% of the time. And went for the small, and very small.
Hawksley the turnover. Hawksley still a little injured. He took some pills at quarter time. Not sure what the pills were. Could have been sugar or salt for all we know, but he was put through a fitness test. Suckling.
Used to be Smarties and now don't we say there was something else.
Franklin lurking. Brust lurking. Out of play. There he is. Hawksley back into the team this week. From the ball in. Off hands. Shields. He was the one that wanted it most. And he can't get it to bounce.
There was that story in the 70s, Dwayne, that a big AFL football, I think it was maybe a Richmond player thought he was taking some sensational health pills and they were all Smarties, but didn't know the difference in the end.
Gee, Simon Black broke from the bunch there beautifully. Downfield.
Downfield free. There's a lot of stories about stuff that happened in the 70s, Shorey, and hopefully no one ever writes the definitive book.
Yeah, but you're never quite sure what was fact and what was
They were
fiction.
Smarties, yeah.
Right.
What was that? Who has the sniffing? I think it was you. The Hawks, weren't they, Chase? Sniffing out of the bottle or something? I don't. Was it on the eucalyptus oil?
Yeah.
Mitchell, we think. Hodge. No smelling salts were used in the old days as well.
Of course.
They were big, the smelling salts. Bruce dragged down. Okay, now the opportunity for McKeever. He gives it up instead. Could have gone with a long kick.
Oh, well done.
Still a chance for Harwood. Shoots it wide. Redden, huge chance from 50. Bangs it through and puts them back in it.
Well, that time again, we've seen it a few times today. Luke Hodge kicked to a 50-50 in the middle of the ground. And then the turnover cost Hawthorn a goal. They did it the hard way in the end, Brisbane Lions, but eventually worked it forward. And this is a nice finish. You know, they've made a couple of goals from tough kicks at that end of the ground, which is thus far proven pretty difficult to score at.
Possession game so far for Jack Redden. 21 points the margin. Hawks earlier in the game led by as much as 32.
He'd be nearly leading their best and fairest, Dwayne. Other than Simon Black, I would think he'd be close, Jack Redden.
Yeah, Rockcliffe's played some good games.
Yeah.
McGrath held up. 61-40. And just a reminder, Brisbane Lions will come home with a slight breeze advantage. Ellis, who's been third man up a few times. Savage went for Osborne and he bounced it to him beautifully. Osborne takes off and thumps the ball towards Hale. Hanley clever. First meeting between these two teams and the only meeting between these two teams this year, this matchup, even though both teams have played some other sides twice for the year, and normally with the draw. And it's tighter right now than some thought. Redden outside of the boot. Might be coming back. Bailey. Plenty of time and space. Osborne might fly. He does. And Stiller outread him.
He just ran over the footy.
He was looking for some support to jump on, and there was nothing there. Pack moved forward on him. Still on to McKeever.
Well, the Lions want to keep it out in that side, that Bermuda triangle at Lee Colbert. They're going out wider and wider, and that's exactly where they want to be.
So that's their sub, Rowan Buick. So they've affected their sub, the Brisbane Lions. We'll try and find out who's off for the game. So fresh man on, the man who was dropped during the week and then got a reprieve about an hour before the teams were due in. McGrath. Oh, he took on Puopolo and lost. Fantastic tackle. Gives it up. Burgoyne short, and Osborne takes the mark, just the required 15, and he can load up from there. So I'm pretty sure that's Retzlaff. Yeah, Retzlaff. Who's got the tracksuit on. He's done for the day.
Doesn't look confident, Osborne, does he? It's a tough kick into the breeze from there.
48, strikes it nicely. Goal umpire did not move. Margin back out to 27.
Not sure why you wouldn't be confident when you drill the ball like that. But that was a really good finish. And just a couple of times this quarter, what the Hawks have done is not just kicked it long blindly or just kicked it straight to Franklin. They've identified other targets leading up, and it's starting to pay dividends. Gee, launched everything into it, didn't it?
So what, Puopolo, not just a hard-at-it player, but just a good tackler too. Ash McGrath, just a costly mistake taking him on.
A little pit bull terrier.
So just confirming, Buick on, Retzlaff off. They've used their sub. Good to see Michael Osborne available to play. Had a bit of a cork last week.
He did.
They were able to get that right. And not as if the Hawks don't have enough injury worries. Redden breaks free to Rockcliffe. The two playmakers to half forward. Karnesis couldn't trap it. Sheldon could, but is trapped. Get a ball up.
Well, this is a massive part of this game, isn't it? I think a couple more goals in this game is probably beyond Brisbane Lions' reach, but they can hang in there, sneak one. They are still in it with a big show.
Redden, did he take on the tackler? Umpire said he didn't have prior opportunity, and he was wrapped up by Luke Hodge, who's hugged you like grandma. There's no getting out of it once Luke Hodge wraps you up.
Key for Brisbane is that if they can just kick one more goal, they'll have the confidence that they're going to the scoring end in the last term.
Savage to set it up. Smith uses some toe. Puopolo, ball just out in front of him.
Uh-oh, Buddy's lurking.
Couldn't trap it initially. Buddy, he ran straight past him and he's into the fence.
He provided a nice little shepherd, Puopolo, and he thought, yep, I better defer and just let Buddy take this one.
And Matty Maguire went straight up to Pierce Hanley and said, thanks, mate, because I was gone then. He was out.
So far, so good in some respects for Maguire, although Franklin trapped it, gave it up. Hawksley, trapped by Birchall, dragged down. No prior there for sure. Ball up. Yeah, Franklin only 2 goals so far for the game, and
he's done well.
Maguire did see 7 go over his head last week with Jay Schultz. So
he's had 16 possessions, Franklin. He's worked hard. He's looked dangerous. They just haven't come on the scoreboard.
And 7 goals at least. Didn't see Port Adelaide win against the Lions last week, so at least Maguire did get to play in a winning team. White cross, good tackle, dragged down, dispossessed. Harwood, Hawksley, Power to Jonathan Brown. Sheldon, good build up, open forward line. They do have the loose man Birchall back. He's forced to go and man up Harwood.
Jonathan Brown's run back here, boys.
And he might get there. He does get there. He snaps it around the body and is taken through for a score in the end or a mark.
What a work rate that was.
Umpires will confer. Suckling marked it on the line, so it is a mark. Crowd getting vocal down that end.
Well, there's a number of Hawthorn players pushing out this side of the ground, but he's got to kick between that point post and goal post, so he can't come across the face of goal.
Still a 70-metre pass to Hodge.
Oh, that's too easy.
Outstanding. Young runs away from a couple of tacklers. Ball didn't bounce back to him initially. He just sat on him a bit, forced him to wait. Mitchell, Birchall, Burgoyne, Ellis to the open side. It's the side they'd like to attack from on this ground. Suckling, he'll go for a 70-metre bomb to Franklin. Lurking, edged out of it, back of the pack. And it beats them all, although Franklin, he kept that alive. Patfull to the boundary. Outside of the boot and across the face, and now they play on the full. Good attempt from Savage, but didn't quite hit it as well as he'd like.
Not sure he summed up all his options there. You like to see the player have a look first to see if there's something better.
Low percentage.
Ticked into time on third term. 27 points to margin. Lions with the breeze in the final term. Hanley. And they were in this spot last week as well. Brisbane Lions down by...
Gee, that's a kind decision to pay the money.
Well, I think he thought frontal contact, but not a lot of it. He's got to go for the ball. Pierce Hanley nearly turned it over. Matty Maguire's probably thinking, hey, boys, I'm chasing around Buddy. Don't make it any harder for me.
The Lions came from 20 down in the third quarter last week against Port Adelaide. Kicked the last 5 goals of the game to win that one. So they won't be giving this one up just yet. Simon Black dragged down. Handball is nowhere near a teammate. We'll get another ball in. 22 gone, 6 minutes and change to three-quarter time. Hale to Hodge. Shields. Stiller. This will have to be good. Buick, fresh man on.
Good
at the legs.
Got Brown on the lead.
And puts it in front. Gibson again got there with a fist that is as good as a kick. Knocks it out to Birchall and provides a shepherd. Birchall wants to come inboard and does with ease. Smith. Franklin leads short. It's ignored. Now it's not. Brust instead.
It's an incredible closing speed, Josh Gibson on the lead.
I know Jonathan Brown's not super quick, but you're right. Been able to get his fist in a number of times.
He's had 3 different thoughts go through his mind. And he hits it wide instead. See what Birchall can do. And tries to take on Buick. He runs inside 50. And the Tasmanian misses. Crowd were up for a second.
Gutsy effort just to run at the bloke on the mark and take him on.
Pretty ordinary defence. I don't know what he's going to try and do there.
No, they've released another one here.
So Hanley gets the kick. Stiller. There were 2 balls on the ground for a little while there. The umpires decided not to hold up play and have to ball it up now. Both teams with 7 games left of the home and away season after today, so it's getting down to the pointy end for both teams, and Stiller will be off.
Split down the middle here.
Both teams still with 1 bye to come the remainder of the season. Hawthorn has its last bye next week, and then the Demons. So they've got 2 weeks to recover from this, the Hawks. Here's the incident.
Oh, that's got to be a free kick.
You'd think it was a free kick if you got hit high and you split. Hodge, the Shields. It's a mad mess of players. 30 out from the Hawks goal. Ellis sees Franklin lurking, puts it in his direction, see if he can weave some magic. And with the outside of the boot,
he's paid that out in the full.
He just clipped the back of his heel. Unlucky. And is that 50?
It's got to be 50.
No, ball in.
Well, he was on the side of the market. You can't stand there, surely.
No, that's the protective area.
Yeah.
I thought.
He changed direction on his play on, but the umpire hadn't called play on. And normally, if you anticipate, you get pinged.
It's a free kick. The Lions pushing the back.
I think they've evened that up then nicely.
Oh, now the players played on.
And then when he heard the whistle, he didn't want to make an advantage. And the umpire said, too late. I've called you on. Patfull, Hawksley. Some organised chaos in the last minute and a half. Harwood. Sheldon. Back to Hawksley. Rockcliffe. And now Jonathan Brown. And he set it up from outside 50. He's got one-on-ones. Banfield calls for it.
Good
Karnesis
kick.
calls for it. And peeling onto it, Buick.
Well, that's just good running. He's the fresh man.
He's
Gotta
been
make a
very good,
presence,
hasn't he?
yep.
Well, that's what you want from your subs, to come on and give you some immediate impact.
This is a really important kick. I reckon the mindset is if you're inside that 4-goal
No
margin
doubt.
or so, you're right in the contest.
Everybody in the ground knows it. Buick knows it. Closes the angle a bit. Breeze wants to push it back. And the Hawk fans breathe a sigh of relief with 3.5 minutes to three-quarter time.
Yeah, the one thing the Lions don't want here is just a full ground movement from Hawthorn to score.
So that was a tricky manoeuvre to get the ball to Suckling. Cheney.
Tell you what, trying to come back.
Oh, Jonathan Brown cuts it off. Back in. Got a handball up. Buick had it stolen from him by Murphy. Suckling does well there. Under some pressure. Found Shields. And the Hawks are not away. Cut off. Slapped down. Buick bangs it inside 50. Karnesis had it tucked away by Gibson, who left his man and made the commitment. Cheney just finds Mitchell. They are flirting with danger right now, the Hawks. Guerra. Hodge got there, but off his knee. Buick back onto it. Sent it back inside 50. Guerra came at him, gives it up to Redden.
Goal.
He keeps it low. Oh, it's awesome. Not touched. The goal they desperately needed. Oh.
Gee, they made a mess of it, the Hawks.
Did they what?
Guerra tried to force an impossible kick. They just continually mucked around with it. They probably should have got punished a couple of times before then. But have a look at this finish. He just drills it low. It's a beautiful kick. Now, you probably think Cheney's going to get something on it. Oh, it just skids through. Probably needed just to throw his body in front of it. A little bit more desperation, perhaps, on the line, rather than trying to read the bounce.
And he gets a rest for his trouble, Jack Redden.
I'll give that one just some three-quarter time coming up.
Yep.
Not because he kicked the goal. Might need a spell, but yeah, look, just messing around with the ball in defence. So getting it out of the scoring zone, Hawthorn.
Yeah, it might be close to three-quarter time, but the game could be won and lost in this next 2.5 minutes if the Lions get another.
Yep.
McGrath's a wobbler. Brown is up. Big fist from Murphy that time. Tries to get it back again. Sheldon dragged down. And Burgoyne held him up well. Didn't give the high free. But a good spot for a ball up for the Lions. They are lurking. They'll come home with the breeze. They're 21 points down. They came from this margin down last week to win. Full of run. Bailey knocked it down. Jonathan Brown ties it up. Ball up.
Gee, Leuenberger's a kick behind play here, boys. I'd like to see him go in here for a stop play like this. Maybe sneak a goal because of his dominance in the ruck. But he's just a kick behind play right there outside 50. I reckon it's just time that he should have moved into this one.
Brown the flick down. Rockcliffe, can he finish? He can't. Straight up in the air.
All the best.
Karnesis almost. Gibson, Burgoyne, hacks it clear. It might be coming back. Powers marked it. You'd think just beyond his range.
He's going to have a shot.
Oh. He doesn't know how long left. They look at the scoreboard and there's 29 minutes gone. So for all he knows, he plays on and the siren sounds and he doesn't get a shot.
He's moved around 4 metres there. Too smart.
He moves around a bit more. He hits the hot spot. Gibson again. Franklin lurking. Jonathan Brown got a toe on it. Banfield couldn't get a toe on it. Guerra does. Toes it away. Rain's got there first. Knocked down. He tracks it down. He kept his feet. Boundary line might be his saviour.
Had
He
to
didn't
be.
find it. Smith keeps it alive down the line. McKeever, the Irishman, dived in. Rains back again. Leuenberger, we've got a minute left on the clock. That wasn't 15. Still a chance for a late line score. Off some hands. Sheldon couldn't take the mark. Guerra grabs the crumb. He wants to play on. Towed back inside 50.
What?
Bailey wiped his hands on his shorts before picking it. Ellis, Suckling, didn't want to have the kick this time. Murphy, not a lot to go to. Back to Suckling again. We're down to 40 seconds. Under siege right now. They maintain possession. Little slip for Bailey. Hope he's okay. He goes back to go forward. Cheney. And he took the step. Burgoyne. Umpire calling to play on there. He didn't have to. Young spills it. Ball back alive. 15 seconds left on the clock. Crowd getting into the contest as well. Guerra's over it. He's gone.
Oh, well done to the umpire. Never got sucked in. The Guerra playing for a free kick
They
there.
can kick a goal here.
There's time enough. They need a mark and they get it.
Oh, big
Carlesis
play.
on the siren.
Well, Clinton Young, hang your head. How do you drop a regulation chest mark? That is just really poor attention. You take your eyes off the footy. You've taken it too easy. You've done something, but you cannot do something like that that results in a shot for goal after the siren. And this just gives Brisbane all the momentum.
Well, he saw one off hands, but in essence, he's never missed a shot, Carlesis. 6 straight for his career. Sits that long and strong.
That's a goal.
15 points the margin at 3/4 time. Aurora Stadium in Launceston, round 16 clash. You wouldn't know it's 4th against 15th. The Brisbane Lions will come home with the breeze in the final term. The Hawks lead 10-8, 68 to 8-5, 53. And I know we said it earlier, but they did kick the last 5 goals of the game last week to come from behind and win. That was at home, it was at the Gabba, but they did say they believed in their fitness.
Well, just one thing I think they've got to look forward to is don't be overconscious about Jonathan Brown. That little kick to Carnetes there, the blokes are going to get the ball through 450 at times also.
Final term underway, and we'll get a secondary ball up. Very important game for the Hawks, and 4th spot on the ladder right now, but West Coast Eagles breathing down their throats. McGrath rolls it to half forward. Gibson gets it up to Ellis. Went back. Murphy just past Osborne. McGrath's full of running. No prior opportunity there. Stripped of it by Brust. He's caught by Stiller. And now Osborne might be able to get and go. Tucked up against the line. Splendid smother. Redden got there and made that contest.
That hurt. He got kicked in the ankle then, Redden, I think.
And Osborne claiming it was off his boot and out on the full. Leuenberger and Bailey. Leuenberger knocked it down to the spot. There was no one there. Mitchell with his toe and then to Hodge. Back to Mitchell. The old firm working together. To Puopolo. Couldn't get back onto it in time. And Brust can't keep it in. Crowd getting a little restless at the moment, but Sam Mitchell.
A little bit of magic here. How's that? Instead of bending over, he's just flicked it up like a soccer player with Wayne.
28 possessions to 3/4 time. He's now got 30. Sam Mitchell, Shields ran to the tackle, and how the umpires see that? Free kick to the Lions. Crowd, you can hear the concern.
Yep.
Oh, switch
that's an
it
ordinary
on,
kick.
mate.
Simon
Hanley
Black
can run.
He just told Hanley to run. I'm giving it to you. You better go. Hatfield. And that's a good grab for a man who never gets a rest. Plays 100% at game time every week. Buick, who had plenty of rest. He's the sub who's on. And just repeating, Hawthorn's sub is Riley Milne. So they've only got a youngish player to bring on. It'll be his 3rd game when he comes on.
Haven't got a ruckman here.
Bailey, clever down. Hodge keeps it low. Hanley just pushed Brust off it there. Adcock, boundary line was there and he wanted it. Puopolo keeps it in. Right cross to Hodge. Some poise from Hawthorn. And he boots it long, hoping for Franklin. Maguire on his back. Osborne, he might bring this inboard, not a lot to go to. He rolls it towards goal. Redden got there, nearly towed it through himself. Gathers under some pressure, but they've got the runners.
And they've got numbers now.
Have they what?
Maguire, Rockcliffe didn't need to give that to Simon Black. but the 1-2 worked for him. Rockcliffe long. Gibson should cut this off. Well, he's added another string to his, or guitar, if you like, Gibson today. He's done the tackling, he's done the chasing, and he was the loose man there. White cross long to no one. Handling.
I don't know who he was looking for.
Tell you what, just watch Buddy off the ball then. Lucky that went to Gibson because he gave up on the chase, the Hawks. I tell you what, they look a bit out in their feet, especially their key forwards. No chasing from that area at the moment.
Reigns. Jonathan Brown with 2 to beat. There's that Gibson fist and gathers his own work. They'd be down if not for Gibson. White cross. 15 points the margin. Hawthorn's way. Puopolo. That's a good grab. Thought about playing on. Thinks better of it. Easy within range. Doesn't like his chances. Sits it up for Hale. Oh, initial grab wasn't clean, but he held it.
And then he thought about playing on when he saw the goals right in front of him, but he thought probably taking a little bit too much time to mark it. And I think it was some good work off the ball by Franklin, who was working on his opponent, which actually cleared the path for Hale to come in and take an uncontested mark in the end. Gee, Gibson's been good, hasn't he?
Oh.
He's got 2, David Hale. This to push the margin back out to 21 points. And they've got some momentum back.
Well, it's just become so important to this group now that Jared Ruffhead's out for the season. He's kicked his 3 for the game, and if you look at the tightness of this game, there's Josh Gibson again. Gee, he's timed his run at the ball well when he had to be the 3rd man up. And the other thing too, it's probably given him 5 to 6 possessions because he's always spoiled and then followed up and got the possession himself. Puopolo just wanted to go early, but just bombs it in. And as you said, Buddy Franklin just took a lot of body work from the opposition, and Hale easy marking it.
Well, he's got the Irishman on him, playing this game, number 3, Niall McKeever. Big job. Yet another AFL evolution success story, Niall McKeever. Harwood outside of the boot with the clearance. Brown is under it. And strong.
Gee, that's
and within range, maybe.
So what, Dwayne's going to take a ripper, but again, if he throws it to that left-hand side with a bit of height, it'll go another 15 to 20 metres.
Well, he kicked 2 goals to this end in the 2nd term. And one of them was from this distance.
So we've seen some great full forwards. The man standing on my left was a sensational kick, but as a centre forward, this bloke's probably one of the best I've seen.
The skip, the launch.
Too far right.
And hasn't got the carry, and almost dragged through by Young. It was deliberate, but it was okay because he was under some pressure. And it'll be Suckling entrusted with the kick in. 20 points the margin, and a ton of time left in this. Bailey, he's played well. We haven't talked about how good he's been, but he has been pretty good.
That was too easy, though. You know, you're trying to win this game. You've got to put some pressure on the opposition by keeping the ball in your defence or your forward area, and that was just too easy then.
Savage was in 2 minds. Off Leuenberger's hands to Rockcliffe. Try and generate something again. Hits wide, Banfield. Didn't quite scoop it up.
Dropped a few marks.
It hasn't been the same Todd Banfield this season.
No,
just a little down.
Yeah, 4 possessions today, 1 behind to his name, but he can change things with a couple of goals here in the last quarter.
Savage almost turned that over. Harwood, the Tasmanian, back in town, trying to have an impact. And plenty of fans here for Ryan Harwood. Plenty of people down here know his story. Local boy from Glenorchy, lost his father and had an extremely hard time. And football was his lifeline. And he's got it on cue. Drag down, get another ball up. He's hurt himself,
yeah,
but he is a tough nut, Ryan Harwood. Heard Alistair Lynch talk about him a few times this season. And a little blood won't worry him. Savage, well, he ducked as he saw the tackle coming, and the umpire deemed no prior opportunity, or did he?
Just clearing the nasal passages.
What's going on there, Dwayne? We were talking about.
I think that's a little help of Ventolin. Sometimes they use that, which is legal, by the way. Salbutamol is the substance in the Ventolin, which is okay, especially if you suffer from asthma or...
Oh, please don't
bronchitis.
umpire.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, gee.
He was lurking, umpire Stefan Grun, and he was lurking in an excited manner.
I reckon there was 3 before that, but just to clear the play, I thought it was time.
Hodge to Whitecross. Gibson, pressure. The Lions believe they're in this.
Now that's got to be holding the ball.
He's in trouble. Well, same umpire, same decision.
Well done, up. Very consistent.
And the sharpshooter Karnesis will take the shot.
Gee, the Whitecross kick. Have a look at that.
Oh.
Where do you want it? At your toes.
Did that well, Canisius. Could have fallen on the back of Gibson then, but...
Well, you've talked about how good he is a few times today, Shorey. He's got a football brain. And as we mentioned earlier, he's yet to miss a shot.
Oh, don't let me down like that.
Wayne,
I think filled him up.
19 points the margin. Suckling. And he thumps at 70. Over the back to Brust, who can get and go. Ibbott sits, and he's away. Puopolo peels back. He goes short. Shields instead. Smith the target if he wants him. He goes for Smith. Great spoil, Sheldon. Knocked it down. Smith to Puopolo to Franklin. Tried the don't argue. Got the handball up just in time. Brust misses. But that was a massive passage of play there. They had the breakaway, couldn't capitalise, and the Lions will breathe a big sigh of relief there.
Now he should have about 2 seconds to kick this ball now. Yeah, the umpy did well. Tried to con him with the 30-second rule there, whatever rule it is, the 15-second rule.
Adcock played 10 minutes final term. Hoping for Buick. Off some hands, Birchall with the spoil and the gather. Savage didn't want to have the kick initially. Kicks into the back. Buick hunts it down, knocks it out. Ball still alive though. Guerra up to Franklin. Caught, dispossessed. And the Irishman McKeever does superbly. He might get on the end of this as well. Dragged down by Cheney. Didn't have it.
Gee, I thought he did it well, Cheney. He didn't throw him to ground.
He likes to handball. He doesn't like to kick the Irishman. Gives it up to a designated kicker. Karnesis back in the pack. Lurking. There's the footy brain. He knew where it was coming. And he just couldn't collect it. Brown tried to drive his way through. Murphy wraps him up. Still in there. Comes out to Burgoyne. Runs free of an attempted tackle. And the release kick to Brust was magnificent.
Gee, they're out here, the Hawks. Plenty forward of the ball.
Osborne. He spent that before it earned it. Adcock gets a break. Osborne under some pressure. And he rolled him in that tackle. The umpire fell for it. And he thought about taking it off him as well.
Riley Milne into the game for the Hawks too, for Clinton Young.
Okay, so the umpire held everybody up. Whitecross. And that doesn't come back enough. It's a Brisbane Lions ball.
His last few kicks have been abominable. Brendan Whitecross.
That's Young off. And in his third game, Riley Milne. Is the footy world ready for another Milne?
Gee, I tell you what, Patrick Karnesis, he missed that goal, and then he just fumbled. He stayed down, did the right thing, but that fumble was very costly. That was nearly a certain goal down the other end.
Hanley high, McKeever, and speak of the devil, Riley Milne takes a spectacular grab just on. And the pass almost as good. Franklin hasn't been himself today.
Got to give it to Matty Maguire. He's done a good job on him.
We said had 7 kicked on him by Jay Schultz last week. Could have been a bit gun shy. Playing on arguably the best forward in the game. Puopolo played for the free. Black got it, gave it. Rockcliffe, dangerous spot to kick it. Whitecross, he has the shot from 50. It's sailing, it's gone! All the way home!
Well, that's one way to make up for your last few miserable kicks. He missed a target in the defensive 50 that probably should have cost a goal, but didn't. And then he just kicked one out in the full moments ago. But on that occasion, he wanted to give the handball away early too, but then he makes a good decision. He knows the handball will just put his teammate under pressure, so he takes it back in. And from 50, that's a great finish. He is a very good kick normally, Brendan Whitecross.
As good as Whitecross's kick was, and it was spectacular, Riley Milne hasn't played a game for over a year. Starts as the sub, comes straight on, takes a fantastic mark to give Hawthorn the momentum. Flick down good. Black stole it, gave to McGrath. Jonathan Brown. Gibson right with him again. Still plenty of time left in this. McGrath knocks it out. Jonathan Brown tries to find a pass target. Simon Black. Neuenberger can't mark, and Burgoyne takes off. Uses some speed. Franklin the target. Maguire right with him again. Franklin got hands on it. Not free.
He's been paid a free kick for holding the arm.
Okay. And McGrath's injured a leg. He might be off and could be done for the day. Franklin plays on. He's got Birchall back out wide. He ignores that. Smith. Guerra runs to 50 to punch the margin outside 30 points. And they lead by 32.
Gee, I love the way Isaac Smith goes about it. We talked about him earlier in the game, about his lack of body strength. Well, that's going to come in a couple of years in the gym. But when he gets this ball, he realised to hold. Guerra then gave him a forward pass, a handball, so the man on the mark could not pressure the kick. It was always going to go to Guerra, but just to hold a little bit more, allow Guerra to get in the kicking distance, and the man on the mark not the pressure. So, well done, Isaac Smith. Going to be a very, very good player for Hawthorn, and McGrath's off.
Yeah, it's not a good sign.
100 goals for Brent Guerra, so congratulations to the Goo for the 100-goal milestone. Game 207, but here's the McGrath ankle injury.
Boy, that looked nasty.
Yeah. Treading a fine line right now, the Lions. One more, and the game's in Hawthorn's grasp. Off some hands. Savage tracks it. Caught, and caught high. They're getting some breaks. The breeze not doing the Lions any favours so far in this final term, as Lee Colbert said. It's dropped a bit. Ellis floats it to Hale. Puopolo over the top. An amazing mark from the little man.
I reckon he's cheated a little bit using the hands to get up there.
I'm ready to pay it.
But they pay it if you take the mark, don't they, Shorey?
Yeah, I loved it.
There's something about a little bloke rising over the pack that is spectacular.
Matter of fact, I reckon we could nearly throw that rule out.
And he could have sealed victory with a spectacular mark and goal.
Look forward to a replay. You wonder how a little bloke like that gets up so high. I have a feeling he may have used the hands on the shoulder.
There it is. You've got to pay that, don't you? You have to pay that. Like it really, well, it's a balance thing.
It's a free kick if he doesn't mark it, so should it be a free kick regardless?
Yeah, no. I just love to see it because it's one part of our game we don't see, although have seen a lot more of it this year.
But you can't have the hands in the back rule if you're not going to pay if it's too spectacular a mark.
Agree.
What happens if he gets him on the shoulder? Can we allow that? You don't want to miss that, Dwayne, do you?
Lee Colbert downstairs. Colby.
The worrying concern here, mate, is Ash McGrath. This left knee, and the docs don't look too positive about it, boys. So hopefully not an ACL.
So it wasn't just the ankle that rolled, it was the knee that went as well. Buick. And you can sense with the Brisbane Lions players, I feel this one might be gone. Rains run down from behind. Rockcliffe pops it back, top of the square. Jonathan Brown.
He got a holding free kick anyway. If he didn't mark it, he would have got holding.
38 points the margin. Jonathan Brown kicked 2 goals so far today, both to this end in the second term. To cut it back to 32. McGrath off, done for the day. He kicks the goal, and if anybody still can, Jonathan Brown can.
It's their first goal for the quarter, which is disappointing in itself because they have had a bigger bruise than Hawthorn, but quite under the Hawks. They've stemmed the tide here under a bit of pressure. Jonathan Brown in front. He would have got the over-the-shoulder probably from Gibson, who no doubt he's lowered his colours to Gibson. Although it's been a team effort by the Hawthorn defence. I think they've really helped out each other. They know he's the main factor down there, and they've done it as a unit and done it pretty well.
.32 points, 18 minutes gone. McGrath will have a look at this again.
Oh, I don't want to really. Oh, gee, look. No, that's a sideways movement, Jason. Normally that can be medial ligament, the inside one.
Yeah.
Let's hope so, hey?
Mitchell traps it, but they trap him. Still in there. Rockcliffe not going anywhere. And we'll get a ball up. And we talked about Hawthorn's injury woes earlier, but the Brisbane Lions also with some big guns out like Daniel Merritt, Mitch Clark, Clay Beams, Daniel Rich not playing today, Brent Staker. So they've had their woes this year as well, and they will afford to lose Ash McGrath for the rest of the season. Polkinghorne trying to burrow his way through.
Dragged that in.
Gang tackled, and he could be gone. Stefan Grun's lurking. Got him.
He does have a bit of lurking.
He does.
Stefan does.
To Franklin. Long towards Brust. Adcock's with him. Off some hands. Brust can't track it down. Ball in. But we're about to tick into time on final term. Hawks on track to get the 4 points they desperately need to hold fourth spot on the ladder. Sam Mitchell, the general again. Franklin on the left, brings it back, and done. The crowd love that.
Well, I think Isaac Smith, the provider again with the head.
You can play the youngster. I think he reads the play. That's what he does. And good Shepherd too in the end. I think he was pushed into it. He wanted to avoid the physical contact because he still has to run around the shower to get wet. But he'll get better. As I said, I love the way he goes about it, buddy. Matt McGuire, we hope he just doesn't get another couple of late ones. He's done a good job on him so far, but he can kick 3 in about 2 minutes here.
Takes the lead in the race for the Coleman. 46 now. One ahead of Jack Revolt. And even more importantly, the Hawks might get a little percentage on their 4 points if they finish off well. Rockcliffe gives it up. Polkinghorne shoots it wide. Redden, the flick over the top. Hodge tracking it down. We talked about Mitchell's possessions, but Hodge was spectacular early again. Sheldon, Birchall almost had him. Taps it back to Redden. Runs past Smith. McKeever.
Well done.
Harwood. And Buick outside of the foot. Savage. Wasn't meant for him, obviously. Guerra, no prior opportunity. And it's trapped in there. The umpire will sort it out. Yes, the Hawks just enter this game percentage above the West Coast Eagles, who, after their fantastic win over the Cats, on 5th spot now, breathing down Hawthorn's neck. But a good solid victory to the Hawks.
Oh.
Gibson makes his first mistake for the day. And Karnesis has another miss.
Did he stub his toe? He had an air swing. Gibson might have kicked the ground. He's a little bit proppy after that.
Oh, they call that turf toe, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Turf toe, it's called. And I tell you, there's been a few players miss in the last couple of weeks with it.
Trainer has come out to him as Franklin gets the kick in.
Wouldn't think they'd want to lose.
Well, the big one was Aaron Sandilands. Hasn't they called that? Oh, here we go. What's it? Cramp?
That's cramp.
Well, the good part is for Hawthorn, they have a bye next week. So, and a much-needed rest, and then 7 more games leading into the final. 7 games for both teams left after today. Franklin, dangerous kick to Cheney, but a good pass.
Amazing those new terminologies. Turf toe. It used to be stub your toe in our day, and osteitis pubis used to be a strained groin.
Smith, Buick with him. Smith kept his feet, still keeps his feet. Had no choice in the end but to roll back onto it and tie it up. For the record, the Brisbane Lions next week have Geelong at the Gabba. There is Hawthorn's next 4, the bye in Melbourne, Fremantle and North Melbourne back here at Aurora. And with Geelong losing, it does open up top 4 spots. Still plenty of footy to be played in this season. Burgoyne long. Bailey lurking. Can't take the mark. Off hands, Hawksley. Puopolo, the steal. Adcock. Got down, got dirty. Stiller, McKeever.
I've been fairly impressed with McKeever.
Yep.
Yeah, the Irishman done well.
They got an extra here.
So Leuenberger to Redden.
Should score.
No one in the square. He went for the pass option instead. Carnesis beaten for it. Hulkinghorn to the square. Jonathan Brown.
And if they're fair, Ingham should have been 50 metres.
I
They're
think-
taken down after the mark, but he won't worry from there.
He'll go back for goal number 4 for his personal tally.
Well, Niall McKeever, he's had the job on Hale. Hale's kicked 3, but just like the way he's had the courage to run up his man at times and create, there's a bit of sign there for the future.
.23 minutes gone on the clock. 5.5 left. Cut the margin to 31. And I think he's missed.
You're going to expect that. A dry smile from Jonathan Brown.
And
He
that's where
worked
you
hard for that one. He was tired.
That's where your 50-metre penalty, Tony, was
Yes.
the difference between him kicking the goal and not. Mitchell drives it wide, and Puopolo gathers with 5 minutes left on the clock. Brist wants it long. The handball's wide. Savage kicks in the Brist direction. Franklin edged into it and still took the mark. And he wants to have a crack at the goals as well. On the wrong side for a left footer, which is the right side for Lance Franklin.
Yeah, it's still going to take some kick with the breeze. Can he make the distance from there? He does give it a good roost.
I reckon he converts better normally this side. I know he's a left footer, but somehow he just gets that reverse swing with the old ball.
Well, that's what he has ahead of him, and he shorts it. He fooled everybody. That's perfection. White cross.
Well, he certainly added that string to his bow this year. He's bringing other players into the game, Lance Franklin, a lot more conscious of being team orientated, and it mightn't mean that he gets the goals, but geez, helping with a lot more score assists now.
19th possession coming up for Brendan Whitecross. This for goal number 3 for him. Starts it nicely. It drifts a little, but he slots it, and they lead by 42.
He's been a very good player, Brendan Whitecross. He's had some very good defensive forward roles this year, and he's done it. And he's also kicked goals, so you know that he's getting in the right spots, but he's been given a role by his coach. He seems to have settled into that. And every team needs one, a player who's pretty hard at it, stops a key player from rebounding, and then sneaks a couple himself. So 3 goals returned today is as good as you'll ask from a player having that role.
McKeever having a sit down, the Irishman. They stuck to form again today, Hawthorn. They've won now 6 of the past 7 last quarters they've played here at Aurora Stadium. They do know how to finish a game here at Aurora. Ellis breaks free. Hodge bumped off it by Rains. Drives in and ties it up. Umpire allows Sheldon to try and get it out, but going nowhere. They've also stuck true to form with their kicking today, Hawthorn. They've been 79% from set shots the past month. Number 1 in the AFL. They've kicked 16 goals, 9 again today. Rains extracts the kick. Burgoyne. Cheney. Gibson. He might even get himself a Brownlow vote today. Past Puopolo and out of play. There's the Brisbane Lions next 4. As we mentioned, Geelong at the Gabba next week, and then North Melbourne, Mackay and Adelaide. And
Gee, Geelong will be hungry for a win after the last couple of matches.
the Brisbane Lions not out of the wooden spoon zone, as we mentioned earlier, because with just 3 wins, they still have to play the Gold Coast, who are a win behind them. And Port Adelaide still has a showdown to come against Adelaide and the game in Darwin against Melbourne. So the teams below the Brisbane Lions still a chance to have the wins that could see the Lions win a spoon. Mitchell.
Don't forget,
free kick was paid.
Don't forget the Gold Coast are 100% against the Lions too.
That's right.
1 from 1.
The only problem for the Gold Coast is they're 2 games against the Lions this year, both at the Gabba.
Yep.
Inside 3 minutes.
Oh, there goes the sign. What's that mean, Jason?
Just sitting it up.
Just kick it long.
Franklin lurking. Oh, he had it again, but dropped it.
Was that like Royce Hart, just kick along and get out of his way? Is that the same as like Franklin?
Hale caught behind. Leuenberger, who's fought manfully. Maguire to Redden to Simon Black. Jonathan Brown. And with Hodge again, beats him. The battle of strength between those two. And he gives the indication he'd like to go long. Power.
Been a bit quiet, Luke Power.
Yeah, hasn't had
That's not the greatest
an
of
enormous
kicks.
year, Luke Power. Played better last week against Port Adelaide playing as a forward. Kicked himself a couple of goals as Gibson heads wide. And the mark taken by Shields. And Franklin gets a rest. That'll do. Put him in cotton wool.
There, Grant Birchall comes on and goes for a rare 4-0 forward.
Stiller with the punch down. Hodge tried to get a kick away. Osborne tied up.
He was tackled by 2 blokes. One's got him locked up and another one's pulling the arm away.
Who will the Hawks get back next week? How far away Cyril Rioli?
The week after the bye, they should get Lewis, Sewell and Rioli back with a bit of luck.
Okay, so it'll only be a stronger Hawthorn for the next contest. Rains back. Power gets himself a kick, but again it'll be coming back over his own head. Cheney.
That's being hopeful. No, nothing certain, though, Dwight.
Hodge almost bursts it with a 70-metre kick. Osborne knocked over. Hawksley down to a minute. So percentage could be vital for the Hawks as well. And 42-point victory. If you said that at the start of the game, they probably would have taken it, but they were under some pressure in this.
Oh, no.
Great hand, Simon Black. Gee, that was brilliant.
And Leuenberger and Rains.
Oh, no.
Turnover. Birchall. Savage. Hanley flies, got a hand to it.
Probably a free kick.
Not paid. Power to Hanley. And both teams really just playing out time here. Harwood, and he looks to be cramping.
Yep.
That's an old saying, never handball or a ruckman while he's stationary. I think Leuenberger was twice got caught on that occasion.
Well, I think you can shorten that saying. Never handball or a ruckman.
Very
point.
harsh.
No, I'm with him.
Hanley. One last chance at a line score to Jonathan Brown. Up, can't mark it. Banfield down. Couldn't trap it. Hodge half had him and then went the ball. Clever play from Luke Hodge.
Yeah, he restricted Banfield, almost tackling him, but without actually tackling him, and then holding the ball under him.
Final seconds, one last chance at a score for the Lions. Wide ball, Osborne hunts it, Power right with him. It didn't exactly go to the script we were expecting, but it ends up being the result most people were expecting. A handy victory to the Hawks on their home turf here at Aurora Stadium. 42 points the final margin. It wasn't the Lance Franklin show, but Hawthorn had other stars in other areas. 16-9-105 to 9-9-63. Sam Mitchell, another 34 possession game to go with a 34 possession game that he had last week. And Josh Gibson, 24 possessions to finish with, and he started especially early. And the Hawks would be reasonably happy with that.
Yeah, look, I think workmanlike's probably the best way to describe it. They had a pretty ordinary patch in the second quarter where they really allowed Brisbane in, and then again late in the third term, Brisbane closed things up. And those lapses of concentration would certainly annoy Alistair Clarkson, and he'll address that with the players. But all in all, they worked their way to you know, a blue-collar win, I think, sure.
Yeah, no, look, they worked pretty hard. They set it up in the first quarter, of course, and you know, should have nearly blown Brisbane out of the game. But to Brisbane credit, they didn't give this game up at all. There's some good signs for Brisbane, but as you said, they'll have the bye now, the Hawks, get it all together. A lot of their players, some of their class players, come back into this team after the break, which it's a good build-up to the final series.
And one of the stars of the show was Josh Gibson, who's downstairs with Lee Colvin.
Gibbo, that was tougher than it looked, I reckon. The scoreboard doesn't exactly reflect how hard it was.
Yeah, you're right, mate. We got out to a bit of a lead and they really took it up to us after that, and it was tough out there, and we're glad to get away with that one.
Savage with injuries all over the park, your boys, but you're getting bigger jobs each week and none bigger than today.
Yeah, look, as a defender, you always want to play on the best, and I know I'm a little bit short, but trying to do what I can.
Now, a little bit of kudos, though, has got to go to your teammates, because I know Hodgie was back there at times, and Murphy as well, helping you out at times.
Yeah, definitely. They sit in that space in front of him, which makes it a little bit easier. So the middies in that, pushing back in his hole and putting pressure on the kicker makes my job a lot easier.
Now, tell us about that black eye. I was worried about you last week. Now, today in that last term, you actually towed the ground. So 2 in a row.
Yeah, I'm struggling with depth perception, mate, so I couldn't see where I was kicking, but it was Maxi, friendly fire, so it is what it is.
Well, the boys were into you last week about your good looks, so get in there and rest up.
Thanks, mate.
Josh Gibson, who is a good 7 centimetres shorter than Jonathan Brown, having a chat to Lee Colbert.
That's a snappy comeback. Depth perception issues after kicking the ground.
Yeah, very nice. Well, after playing in front of 85,000 last week, a bit of a change of scenery for the Hawks. Played in front of just 14,000 this week here at Aurora Stadium. But as opposed to last week, this week they get the 4 points. 16-9-105 for the Brisbane Lions, 9-9-63. We'll be back to wrap up straight after the break.
This has been a Fox Sports production.